fact, I did the review of that East Asia stuff game for my friend Josh. That Mahjong game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And I feel like that turned out well.
So, who knows?
I know nothing.
It is the Super Clash Podcast, a podcast about shorter games. It is episode 77. I'm your host, Kale.
Hey, it's Connor.
And it looks like you're starting to feel a little bit better, Connor.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah, if you guys didn't notice, we took about 2 weeks off, mostly because Connor was sick, and it hurt to talk, and so we were just like, you know what, just die already.
Yeah. I didn't, though.
No.
Unfortunately for you.
Damn. I was hoping this would be a solo project now.
You know that wouldn't go well for you.
No, it won't, because I have horrible social anxiety.
You're just sitting there quietly in a room talking to yourself.
Yeah, so this game's pretty good. This game's pretty good. Man, I really wish I had someone to bounce off opinions to.
Nope. Just dead silence back at you. And then everybody thinks you're crazy because you're sitting in a room talking to yourself.
Yeah. It reminds me of you've seen online the Garfield minus Garfield comics.
Oh.
Where it's just standard Garfield comics, but they take Garfield out and it's just John reacting.
Yeah.
It makes him look like he's psycho.
That's so good.
It's funnier than the actual Garfield comics.
That's why I feel like I would have a hard time being like a solo content creator online. Because imagine those people who are like doing like vlog style things. So they're basically talking to themselves for X amount of time. And anybody watching them walk around talking to themselves has to be like, you look like an absolute idiot. And my social anxiety would not let that fly.
No.
It would be like, I look weird. I need to go hide, you know.
I'm better talking to a camera in the comfort of my own home. And even then, I'm like, what if someone like looks out the window, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Ugh, no.
No. So during the 2 weeks, though, some games came out, and we've been kind of focusing our time on that. And I've also been watching Quintessential Quintuplets.
Hey, and why have you been watching that?
Because at the time of this recording, next weekend, we're going to go see the movie.
So by the time this goes up, we'll be going the day after you listen to this.
Yes, basically. And I'm excited. The show is really sweet. I wasn't so sure about it at first because all the girls, except for maybe a few, were really bitchy. But they started growing on you, save for one. But
oh, who's your one you don't like?
Miko?
You don't like Miku?
No.
Nino?
Nino, yes. No, Miku's best girl.
See, the further it goes on with Nino, I felt like I disliked her less, if that makes any sense. Like,
yeah,
it's easy to dislike her in the beginning, but as she goes on, she starts calling out the other girls for not being like honest with their feelings or being honest towards Futaro. And like, I can kind of respect that because Nino's always like straightforward to a fault, but like she's straightforward.
Yeah, and that's not to say that she's gotten better as the show goes on. I just don't like her that much, and like
she's not as hateable as Mommy though.
No, well, no one's as hateable as Mommy. No one. In the top 100 worst girls, she's like above number one. I don't know what's above number one.
She's zero tier, you know.
We're getting into negative numbers with her.
Oh, yeah.
And if there's anyone out there that actually likes Mommy, that's fine, but you're wrong.
Exactly. Yeah.
I respect your opinion, but it's wrong.
Just like Nino stands, like anybody who's into Nino, like she's at her best, she is passable.
Mm-hmm.
At her worst, she's pushing on worst girl. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm. But we also had a big Thanksgiving as well.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I switched gears too quickly, but
oh yeah, you stripped the transmission when you did
oh
that.
my god. Okay, well let me try that again. No, fuck it.
Yes, we did Thanksgiving at my house.
Yes. Man, ADD, Jesus.
And I think it turned out well. We had quite a few people from my family and then some friends, including you and your wife. It's unfortunate that your brother-in-law couldn't come, but
That's all right. Hopefully he has his car in a working order. So
is he up here now or no?
No, he's not.
No.
But we're trying to get him down, just so he can like hang out and everything. So
Yeah.
but it was a lot of fun. Lots of food. Oh my god.
Like way too much food. I think people brought more than they told me they were going to bring.
Yeah. And like I've been munching on leftovers for the past couple days now.
Yeah, so have we.
But yeah, we brought ham. Lily brought 2 homemade pies and gluten-free stuffing and
Cranberry sauce.
Cranberry sauce.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good.
Yeah.
So
pretty much all the fun stuff, and I think it's interesting to be the one. I've hosted Thanksgiving like the past 2 years, and it's still like weird to me to be the one doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it works out well because in the past it was either my grandparents hosting it or one of my other family members, and my parents they've downsized their house since my sister and I are adults. And so their place is a lot smaller and would not have housed that many people.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandparents, they're getting older. I kind of don't want to put that kind of stress on them. And my uncle, who used to also host, he got he has 3 really large dogs now. And they even said that they got rid of their dining room table because most of their kids have grown up except for one. So it's like, it maybe it's just easier to do it here,
Right.
We still have a dining room table. We have plenty of space downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
And so.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
But I was just so stuffed. It did not feel good the next day.
Oh, yeah. That night, I was like, I'm going to go lay down.
Mm-hmm. Which also sucked because I had to work the following day while everyone else was off.
Yep. It was nice having today off, buddy.
Yeah. Today off?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, today's Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm
saying it was nice having today off.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Just because, it's like a calm down day, It's
right. It's like one of my favorite things to do in the mornings is I get up about the same time every day. I'll try to usually sleep in a little bit later on Saturdays, so unless my dog really, really needs to go outside. But I love being like the first one to get up. I'll feed the animals, and then I'll play games until Lily gets up. And then we just hang out for a while. And one of the games I've actually been playing is the new God of War.
Nice.
And so far, I'm really enjoying it. The storytelling and everything is really good. I don't know if I maybe just not remember the 2018 reboot, but this one in particular plays a little bit more like Dark Souls Light, to where you need to be able to read enemy patterns. Difference being is like there will be like circles, like different colored circles that tell you like what you can't dodge, what to block, break, and what to react. But there's still attack patterns that you need to memorize alongside with those. So it's not as punishing as Dark Souls or any kind of Souls game, but you do need to attack the enemies whenever there's an opening. And combat wise as well, for as simple as it is, like you have a light attack, heavy attack, block, and then another button that would activate like a rune attack. It's surprisingly deep. All these combinations with these buttons, as well as the X, triangle, square, circle, all these combinations to create like different combos. It's really kind of surprising just how intuitive it is, and the puzzle solving is very intuitive, and it's a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying it.
Nice.
It's a great break from Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's one of the few. So I've slowed down buying a lot of games, but that's one of the few that like I saw the reviews and I was like, okay, I gotta buy that one. And then Amazon, even though I pre-ordered it, shipped it like a week after release. So I just got it.
Okay.
And so I need to play the 2018 one because I've been kicking that one down the line for far too long, and then play the new one. So that's
One thing I thought was kind of weird. Maybe they'll add it into a patch though. Is the first game had a photo mode? But this one doesn't seem to have one. I couldn't find one in the options.
It's strange that they would remove that.
Who knows? Maybe they will in a patch. But like, it's not like photo mode is a make or break. It's just, I remember in the first game, like people making some really funny pictures because you can change the facial expressions of the characters.
Yeah.
And there's one in particular that sticks out in my memory where they had the Leviathan axe thrown and it's going towards Atreus, and they made Kratos' face like an evil grin, and Atreus having a horrified look on his face, and it was at a perfect angle to where it looked like the axe was chasing him, and both of their faces were in the shot, and it was hilarious.
That's wonderful.
And I want more of that.
Yeah.
But who knows? Like, maybe it'll be in a patch. Who knows?
Yeah. Definitely.
But you've also been playing a game as well.
Oh, yeah. It arrived at the perfect time, too.
How is that segue this time?
Better. So my wife and I have been playing the newest Pokemon games, Scarlet and Violet. I personally have been playing Scarlet, and I will say it is probably my favorite Pokemon game in a long, long time.
Really?
It is the second sort of open world game. This one is a little bit more true open world than Legends Arceus, but the game itself is structured so differently than previous Pokemon games. Most Pokemon games are very linear. You go from town to town, facing the gyms in each town, and eventually hitting the Pokemon League. And maybe along the way, you're fighting a big group of bad guys, but that's, part of it. And then you go catch a legendary. So this one's a little different. You get your legendary immediately, but it does not have any combat powers. You can only use it as a mode of transportation. So you can ride on its back, and as you progress in the game, you can it can get the ability to swim in the water, it can glide, it can climb walls, it can jump higher, so all these things. And the game sort of lets you play the way you want. So it's a big open world map, and you have a variety of missions. I think there's like 18 or so different missions. And they're a combination of gyms you need to challenge, Team Star, which is the bad guys, quote unquote, in this game, and the Titan Pokemon that you need to go calm down by defeating them in battle. And so you can choose which ones you want to hit first on the map. That does not necessarily mean it scales, though, which is one of my complaints with this game. Mm-hmm. You can theoretically hit a gym where your Pokemon are level 20 and the ones in the gym are like 45 and, get completely steamrolled. But other than that and the performance issues in this game, which there's quite a few.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of bad press about performance issues.
For me, it's almost exclusively just been frame rate drops. I know other people have had like more glitches. I kind of wonder if some of those people didn't download the day one patch, because the day one patch was supposed to fix a lot of stuff, and I've only ever had issues with frame rate. That's my only issue. But the frame rate does get bad. I'm talking single digits at points. And that is a huge bummer. But I think the story in this one's a lot of fun. The open world nature of it's really cool. For the first time in a long time, I like the new Pokemon that are in this one. It is hard for me to choose a team of 6 in this game because there are so many awesome Pokemon in this one, which I could not say about some of the previous generations.
Nice.
They did it right this time. And, it's just so much fun that you kind of forgive some of the problems with it. And I think had they made this game run buttery smooth and maybe put like level scaling into some of the challenges, it could have been a 10 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Very easily could have been a 10 out of 10. So,
Nice.
just a little bit. I'm sure this game will come back up in future discussions. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, elude. So, but let's just move on. We actually have 2 games to talk about. Yeah, because we had 2 weeks off. So, we'll be talking about one game that we were planning to talk about middle of November, and then we'll move on to a game that we played this week. So let's start off with Ether 1. This is developed by White Paper Games and released in 2014. You can beat this in about 5.5 hours, and you can get this for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So the concept of this game is interesting. You play as a it's been like 2 weeks since I played it, so I'm kind of doing most of this from memory. Because when I look back at the notes, there are some things I remember, but there are other things I can't.
Mm-hmm.
But you basically supposedly play as an employee of this institute, trying to find core memories for people with dementia. Specifically, this one gentleman, I believe, named Thomas.
Okay.
It's a whole game that centers around dementia. And it's interesting in concept, but however, I think the execution was not that good. I actually had to do a little bit of research about this game to really fully understand what was going on. How this game plays is almost like a quasi point-and-click adventure game.
Yeah.
To where you would find stuff that you would have to use later. And you would have to put it in like this inventory system to where you would press triangle and you're teleported to like a hub world, and you can put this stuff on like shelves, which I never used, to be completely honest with you. There are puzzles in this game, but all of them are basically optional.
Are they?
Yeah, I swear to you. I was getting frustrated with these unintuitive puzzles, and so I basically resorted to just finding the red ribbons.
Okay, so if you get the red ribbons, you can finish the game?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Which is interesting because by the sound of it, you completed most of the puzzles.
Yeah, I had completed all the puzzles in the first section, and then half of them in the second section.
Mm-hmm.
Not including the ones in the very beginning of the game. And yeah, that's what made me not want to play this game anymore.
Yeah, to give you guys some context here, the puzzles in the world, there are projectors that are broken, and completing these puzzles will repair these projectors, and they give you a little bit of story context about this person's life.
Mm-hmm.
The story itself and this person's backstory is interesting, but that's really the only thing I can give this game praise for.
Yeah.
To a point. I want to make this clear for anyone that's interested in this game. Because this game centers around dementia, there are little things about your character that kind of simulates dementia.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that simulates it is as you gather up these things and you put it on your shelf, you would start realizing why'd I get that item? You know, why is it here? And your inventory starts being cluttered,
Mm-hmm.
which is a symptom of dementia, is clutter and hoarding, which I thought was really interesting. It's a really interesting concept, and I like how they were portraying that. So my point is, to people who want to play this game, anything that might look like a puzzle piece, grab it and put it in your inventory because it might be used later. And that is the problem I had with this game. You would find an item only for it to be used much later without really teaching you that.
Yeah, and then you have, I'd say 90+% of the items you pick up are not used ever.
Right.
And the game eventually rewards you for picking up a bunch of items that you don't need by giving you like an achievement, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's too much. So I think my issue with the way the game flows with the puzzles and things of that nature is they expect you to make some very big logic leaps in a way that I don't think most people would do. And the problem with that is, if you're expecting these great logic leaps and you want to tell this story, you're slowing the pace of the story down even more, to the point where by the time I finished a section, figured out what the hell I'm supposed to be doing, I had forgotten why I did it. You might say, oh, well, that's the developers
the point of the game.
Clever, but it's not. I don't think that's not helping the game be enjoyable, if that makes any sense. So, like, a good example is one of the tasks to unlock the projectors is to fill out all of the things needed for this parade. And one of the items you need are these bells that go on your ankle. And so you have to order these bells, but they have a very specific name. And you would think you can go to the form and write down bells, right, to order them.
Mm-hmm.
It does not accept that. What you actually had to do was go to an existing set of the bells upstairs and inspect them to find what their name is, then go downstairs and put the exact name of the bells on the form, which completes it. Then you mail it off, and then you get it immediately.
Huh.
So, weird and confusing. And then another one that's on that same area, there is a piece of art at the top of the stairs in the bar, and you are supposed to type in the name of a person into that with missing one of the periods in their name. So their name is like J.D. Taylor or something like that, I think. And so you have to put J.T. space Taylor. And that's the only way it will accept it. It will not accept it if you do 2 dots, which would be grammatically, or I don't know how you want to call that, but punctually correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's shit like that is the problem with this game. You have too many things that require too great of a logic leap and no explanation why you needed that name put into that piece of art. I mean, there might be some sort of tangential reason, but nothing clear.
Right.
And so the game becomes basically wander around, pick up items, and just try random stuff until the puzzle is solved. And it just is not fun. And it's very easy to get off topic, too, I've found. You can be walking and, oh, I'm in a different section of the game now. And, oh, I got to solve these puzzles now. But what about the ones way back there? Well, too late. You walked into this area. Now you got to work on these puzzles.
I got lost so many times in this game.
Oh, I got lost a lot. And especially in the mine area.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
And I texted you multiple times because I attempted this game. This would be the 3rd attempt of this game. I attempted it back in, I think, 2016. I attempted it once the week that we assigned it, and then I attempted it again this week. I could not get through the game. I deleted it off my system. It is just not fun. It's not enjoyable. What did you think? Did you enjoy it?
I liked what they were trying to do. I just didn't like how they executed it. I appreciate what they were going for, and which is why I don't think this game. I want to say this game is not good for the format, because trying to solve these puzzles to try to get the true ending of the game and fully understanding what the game is trying to do takes longer than our cap would be.
Oh yeah, I was 7.5 hours in, and I was on the 2nd section of the game.
Yeah, so and it's just not. I didn't enjoy it. There's not much I can say about this game, because I literally just resorted to running around trying to find the ribbon so I can move on to try to complete the story, because I was running out of time. This is before I realized you were sick. I was running out of time, and I had to at least try to finish this game, or at least one of these games that we assigned the past 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
so I have something to talk about. But it was just so hard to get through.
I would
I-
not recommend this to most people.
No, I had to use a guide, and there was barely a guide on the internet, and I'm sure we're not doing the developer any justice shitting on this game when there's not that much out there about this game to begin with.
I'm sorry, it could have been done way better.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if they taught you something a little bit clearer.
Yes,
If-
or they made the puzzles more intuitive.
Yeah, made the puzzles more intuitive, made the puzzles more fun to put together. Because you can still have that weird dementia thing to where you pick up an item, put it in inventory, only for it to not be used 2 worlds later.
Mm-hmm.
You could still have that idea, but make the puzzles more clear. You know, you don't have to have a fuse tied to the puzzle in that area. You can have it 2 worlds later, but design them in a way to where you're like, oh yeah, I don't know. I was about to say maybe design the puzzle in a way to where you can remember that fuse, but then that takes away from the dementia story arc. So
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a very hard game for me to judge because I hate the gameplay, but I like the idea. I like the concept.
There was a good idea somewhere under there, but honestly, I have a high tolerance for chill games and for puzzle games. You know, I'm not one who gets bored particularly easy with a game, but the best way I could describe this game was just boring. It just was not fun to play, and I hit a point. Normally, if I'm struggling to get through a section of the game, I push myself and like, all right, come on, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. But this one, after that third attempt, I just like, no.
I'm done.
No. Like, this game does not deserve my time. That's the thing. And that's unfortunate. And I know they're trying to discuss a topic that is not really discussed in a lot of video games, that the subject of dementia. But man, they needed to think this one through a little better. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I hate to shit on small developers, but it's just not fun. And what should a game be in the end?
Fun.
Exactly.
Like, true. You can have the most incredible story, well-developed characters, but if your game is not fun to play,
Then it's not really a game.
no. But I would give this game maybe a 4.
Yeah, I was leaning between DNF and 4.
Because, again,
I don't even think I played enough of it, even at 7.5 hours, to like give much of an impression. But 4, it sounds good to me.
yeah. So, sorry guys if you like the game. But, all right, let's round things out with something a little bit more positive. Alan Wake. This is developed by Remedy Games, originally released in 2010, but there was a remaster, I believe, this year.
And that's what I played.
Yeah, and you can get this for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC.
Is it on Switch?
I read on Google it was Switch, so maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Maybe the remaster's not on Switch, but the original one is. Who knows?
Possible.
The story is you play as a writer named Alan Wake, who's been going through a 2-year writer's block. So he goes on vacation with his wife and hopes to kind of help get out of this slump. But however, when he arrives, weird things starts happening from a book that he does not remember writing. And so very, very intriguing kind of a pitch here.
Yes, and it's narrated by Alan himself.
This plays like a survival horror, but it's more of like an action horror. There's the
Action psychological thriller, maybe.
yes. I don't know why people call this a survival horror because you don't really need to manage your resources as much as a survival horror.
It's maybe just creepy is the reason they call it that.
It is creepy. I like the atmosphere. I like the location. This like Oregon, Washington
Pacific
State.
Northwest,
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun to play this game in the setting that it's in, but I think the fun thing with this game, and I know it's been around for a long time, but it was new to me because I had never played the original, is the mechanic for combat. It's all light-based, essentially. So
Yes.
you have a flashlight, and then you typically have a firearm of some sort, and you have to shine the flashlight on these enemies until their shield goes down, and then you can shoot them.
They are invincible with this shroud of darkness around them.
Yeah, and then you can also get flares too, which will not only lower their shield, but it will also keep them away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also get, later in the game, flashbangs, which basically just destroy them immediately. Yeah. So there's a lot of real fun light stuff. I will say, though, it brought into question why guns don't work on them at all if their sensitivity is light. Because what does a gun do when it fires in the dark?
It's true. It can be very blinding.
Exactly. So,
it's probably too quick.
Maybe.
Because depending on the enemy, you need to really shine your flashlight on them for a while for the shield to break off.
But a flashbang, though.
Yeah.
It's immediate.
Who knows?
I know, it's nitpicky, but I thought about that.
Connor, it's a video game.
I thought about that while playing. I'm like,
So,
but no, it's cool. And you can also get flare guns, too, which are basically like a grenade launcher in this game. Because you can fire it into a group of them, and you'll make the one explode and do, like, blast damage on all the others.
Which reminds me, we should probably elaborate on what this enemy is. So the main enemy of this game is called the Taken. And what the Taken is the residents of this small town that you vacation in are like possessed by this astral ethereal being,
like this darkness,
yes,
so to speak,
and it basically turns them into zombies. The person is lost, but they can still attack you.
Yeah. They'll throw things at you or try to hit you with a melee weapon. Thankfully, they don't shoot at you.
Yeah. They do really weird ramblings of what's left of them. Like, one of the boss, I say in quotes, is he's saying, like, was a park ranger, and he's like rambling off safety tips.
Yeah, one of them was telling me about like omega-3 fatty acids are good for you, or things to like say random stuff.
So, but they're gone. So you shine your light on them and you shoot them.
Yeah, and I think I want to segue into one of my critiques of the game because it surrounds combat. So in the game, I mentioned that you have a combination of flashlights, which you can upgrade up. You can pick up upgrades. So you can pick up a bigger flashlight, and you can pick up like a high beam, big old fat flashlight. And you pick up batteries for those, and you have to swap the batteries out pretty much constantly. And
they can recharge, but it's very, very slow.
Yeah, it's very slow. And if you're in a combat situation, you're just swapping batteries left and right. In addition to that, you have several different types of firearms. You get a couple variants of shotguns, you get a revolver, you can get a hunting rifle, and you can get the flare gun. And you pick up ammo for all of these various things. The weird complaint I have, and my wife even noticed this too and was like, that's really dumb, is after a cutscene, I'd say 75 to maybe even 90% of the cutscenes that you do, you lose all of the stuff you just collected.
I've heard a lot of people say that.
And you're back at freaking just having a pistol, or sometimes you just have a flashlight again. And you're like, are you freaking kidding me?
It makes no sense. And I don't know what they were trying to do story-wise, but as we said with Ether 1, it's a video game, so why are you like taking away all my weapons when it would really not change anything with the pacing if I just kept my weapons?
Keep the weapons, and here's what you do. If you want people to have more scarcity, increase the volume of enemies to make you burn through more of your weapons so that you naturally start losing some of your... And you have to be a little bit more conservative with your shots and stuff. That's a way to do it that's not going to piss somebody off right away.
Right.
If it's tough for me to find bullets for a little bit, okay, Fine.
Which also raises another question. Who the fuck is leaving behind all these guns in this forest?
Oh yeah, like you pick up these like little emergency boxes that are on poles, and they have like shotgun shells and batteries in them essentially. So
which I want to pause on that battery thing. Really weird product placement in this game.
Oh, what is there?
Did you not notice he picks up Energizer batteries with it, and the first flashlight he picks up is an Energizer flashlight.
I don't think it's that way in the remaster.
Really?
I do not recall any of that.
I wonder if their brand deal must have expired then.
Because the batteries I was looking at, they were in blue boxes, and I don't think Energizer's branding is blue.
Oh man, I should have taken a screenshot.
I wonder, if they didn't have the sponsorship for this one or something.
Yeah, like it was weird, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a fun difference. I'm glad I played a different version.
Yeah, man, that's weird. Real quick, I want to rewind when I quoted boss battles. These boss battles in this game, aside from a few, are not that great. Like they're just your typical mobs, just with a more important character. Like like Carl, like the character Carl Stuckey, who was supposed to give you the keys to your cabin, but you got the mysterious woman's keys anyway. Oh gosh, who else? One just left me.
One of the sheriffs.
And the ranger.
Yeah.
Like they're basically just the fast version.
They're fast, and they can take more light on them. Their little meter to lose their shield basically it takes longer to drain.
The only like fun boss battle was the bulldozer one.
I don't know, man. The tornado was the most fun one to me.
Oh, okay.
Where you just shoot a bunch of flares into a tornado.
Yeah, okay. So there are good boss battles in this, but
and the one where I don't know if you want to call it a boss battle. It's more of like a horde mode where you're on the stage.
Oh, right.
And you have all this like these fireworks and stuff going off. It felt a lot like Left 4 Dead. That mission in Left 4 Dead where you're on stage and you're playing all this music and explosions and stuff.
But most of the boss battles, aside from those, are just eh.
The interesting thing about this game, I think, more than anything, is the story, because
yes,
you're on the fence as you're watching this, because Alan becomes committed to a mental institute, essentially, right? And you don't know, is he an unreliable narrator? Like, is he trying to escape this mental thing, but he actually needs to be there? Is what he's experiencing real, or is it all in his head? You know?
Yeah, no spoilers. I fully thought that this whole thing was going to be that cliche twist, like, oh, this is all in his head. He's really crazy. I'll say that right now. They don't go down that route. Although they lead you to believe that they go down that route.
Yeah. It's very interesting. And you encounter some characters who do have, I think they actually say, kind of funny, a couple of characters have dementia. Not funny that they have dementia, but funny because we just played a game.
You can't remember anything.
No, funny because we just played a game about,
I know what you mean.
And you're led to believe that they're losing their mind, but they actually give you good advice, and they help you out. So it's like, huh. And so that makes you question even more, like, am I crazy or am I not crazy in this game?
The story is definitely really interesting, and the story is just very engaging, and it makes you want to keep playing so you can kind of unravel more and more with this game. Yeah.
I think one thing that really stuck out to me as an annoying thing about this game, though, is to an extent, I don't know if it's that the gameplay doesn't hold up in this current year, or it's just maybe it was never good to begin with, but your character has the ability to sprint when you need to get out of an engagement, but that sprint lasts approximately 3 seconds. He can run maybe 6 feet, and then he gets completely winded and slows down, which absolutely sucks ass when you're in combat.
Well, he is a rider, so he spends most of his day sitting on his ass.
But I mean, if you put me in this situation, I'm sure my adrenaline, if I'm being chased by weird spiritual creatures, my adrenaline's gonna kick in a little bit more than that.
Probably.
Like, I'm gonna like fucking book it if I have to.
I'm pretty sure I would ignore my chronic ankle pain and run away.
Yeah, there's ghost monsters after you, basically.
Yeah.
So that part was really annoying. Him just falling over, wheezing after like walking 6 feet, and it's like, you fucking idiot. And then there's so many times where like I would try to run away from like some guys to like get some distance, and then he just meanders 6 feet and then gets swarmed and killed. And it's like, you deserve that.
Yeah.
There's a couple times where I literally told my wife, I was like, he deserved that.
I can argue that maybe Alan deserves most of it because he's kind of a terrible human being.
He's a very pretentious, you're kind of stereotypical writer.
He's awful
way.
To his wife.
Yeah, he's an alcoholic.
Yeah, he like the beginning of the game, his wife does something really nice and gets him a typewriter and says, "You know what? Maybe you can write something here. Maybe a change of scenery helps." And he takes it as a personal attack.
Yeah.
When it could have been like, I appreciate it, but I just want to relax from my vacation.
Yeah. One thing I don't know if they ever really explained was the mental institute the bad guy in this?
I think it's left ambiguous.
Like, they took him in and they started like medicating him and stuff, but at the same time, and then they didn't believe him from any of the stuff that was going on. But it's clear that a lot of the like people in the town were also experiencing some things, including your friend Barry, who they have locked up in a room, by the way. So
Yeah.
they kidnapped a man. So why are they bad? Why are they like, are they in cahoots with the actual bad person? I don't want to spoil anything, but the actual bad person?
Maybe it's because I think there's a lot of references of other books in this. Like the FBI agent straight up calls you different authors' names.
And what's with that FBI agent?
He I don't know, man.
Dude, that dude was just 24/7 off the handle. Like, you're unarmed and running, and he's shooting at you. Like, almost shooting just a random civilian. And, like, he's like trigger-happy cop times 10. But he's an FBI agent.
Oh, he's still a cop in America.
I mean, I guess. You'd expect the small-town sheriff to have more of that reaction.
I don't know, man. But what I'm trying to say is if this takes pages from other like books and horror stories, maybe they're leaning into Stephen King's It, to where the whole town is like knows of the creature and just doesn't do anything about it. Who knows? I don't want to give any spoilers, but
a lot of it too is like, there's some situations where like an entire town is destroyed. Did that actually happen? Because if so, no one's really addressing the absolute carnage that happened in that town.
who knows, man?
That's what's so interesting. And they're wanting to make a sequel to this, from what I've heard.
And the last time I checked, it's supposed to be coming out next year, but I haven't seen any trailers or any updates about it, so who knows, man?
Yeah. I will say, we haven't really compared and contrasted the original versus the remaster very much, but I will say the remaster essentially looks like a brand new game. So if you told me that Alan Wake 2010 never existed and this was a game that just came out in 2022, I'd believe you. It looks good enough. The visuals are nice. The combat, while having a few little dated pieces of mechanics to it, still is perfectly functional. And I think they did a pretty good job, at least with like the facial animations and stuff. So I thought that was interesting. I am curious though, in the original, were there live action segments?
No.
So there were live action pieces here. Like
At least maybe there was.
the scene where you're in the apartment and you're watching yourself do a interview.
Maybe there was then.
Because on the TV, it's like what looks like the actual actor live action on the TV.
Maybe.
Anyway, I was just thought that was kind of interesting because they didn't really do a lot of live action segments in games in the early 2010s, late 2000s.
Not really. No, the last one that comes to mind is. Do you remember the game Black?
I've never played it. I know the one you're talking about. It was on PS2.
Yeah, those cutscenes were shot in live action.
Interesting.
That's the one that comes to mind. So
Who
knows? Who knows? I was probably on my phone when the cutscenes were going. So
Gotcha. But yeah, I had a good time with this one.
Yeah.
For the most part.
And I'm kind of glad you had a good time because maybe during our holiday break from playing assigned games, maybe we should try Control because it's made by the same company.
I do still need to play Control. Something about the early game on that just didn't grab me.
I see what you're saying, but really give it some more time. Let you get some more abilities, do some of the side missions, upgrade your weapons, and it becomes a lot more fun. And the enemies in that game, it almost feels like Alan Wake and Control are in the same universe because the enemies
Aren't they? Didn't they confirm it's the same universe?
Maybe because the enemies are very similar, but with Control you don't need a light to shine on them. So who knows? But I would give this game probably a solid 8 out of 10.
I'd give the remaster. I was thinking about an 8 as well.
Yeah.
I think it really makes a game that it seems like you said it holds up pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it have that fine layer of polish where it seems like a new game.
Yeah. I need to see. I'll probably YouTube what the remaster looks like just so I can kind of get an idea. But that'll basically just about do it. Yeah, it's good to be back after 2 weeks. It kind of took a while to kind of get warmed up.
Yeah.
You know? I kind of feel some habits that kind of creeped in our early episodes kind of coming back that I had to mentally kind of try to put away. But
do you want to discuss what the next podcasts are going to look like?
Yes. So for the month of December, for listeners who've listened to our podcast for a while may already know this, but during the month of December, Connor and I are going to kind of take a break from talking about a single game, and we're going to really focus on games that we want to play and want to complete. So through the month of December, we're going to talk about our top 5 games that we played this year, and then top 5 games that we played for the show. I believe bottom 5 games.
Yep, bottom 5 games that we played.
Yeah, and what was the other one?
So, one correction. Our personal games, that one's going to be a list of 10.
Okay, that's right.
And the top 5 and bottom 5 that we played together will each be their own. And I think we're going to maybe... I'm debating, because do we want to do one that releases the week of Christmas, or do we want that to be an off week? If we do something, it'll be another Game of the Year related discussion. It might be like just spitballing like most surprising games we played this year or most interesting. It doesn't have to be like the one that we loved the most, but like had the most interesting concepts. Something like that if we decide to do it.
So, but we have at least 3 episodes figured out.
Yes, definitely. And the format for the 2 podcast where we played the games together, it's going to be more of a loose debate. So we're going to come pre-prepared with our individual lists of 5, and you and I are going to sort them from best to worst, and we will create a list of up to 10 games.
Yeah.
Because we're going to sort these 2 sets of 5 into one.
Okay.
Same with the best game, too.
So, yeah, hopefully we don't have the same games in our top 5, because then that'll be...
I think part of the segments on each of them is just going to be us discussing the games, too, and why we thought they were the best or why we thought they were the worst. So either way, there's going to be some discussion around it.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a debate, though, that'll happen when we get here. We might be on the same wavelength, but I know for a fact our personal best are going to be different.
Oh, absolutely, because you and I, we like different games.
Yes.
So
Definitely.
But yeah, I'm excited for the month of December.
Me too.
So I'm excited just to kind of take a break from assigned games and just you know.
Next week will be, I think we should do, because I want to do a space in between like our top games. So let's do our top games we played together. Will be next week's.
Okay, sounds good. I think that is a good way to round it off.
Then we'll do worst
or start
and
it
then
off, I should say.
Personal best games.
Yeah,
after
personal best for last because
Yes.
that seems the most appropriate.
Definitely.
So,
Definitely.
all right, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.